I talk to a lot of chiropractors and a lot of healthcare practitioners of different disciplines, and they would like a more effective business. When we're in school to become a doctor, we're taught how to be doctors. We're not really taught how to be business people. And when you open up a practice, you find yourself being an entrepreneur and a business person. There's material we know, that's a little bit of the pie, and then what we know we don't know is a little bit more of the pie. But if you look at the rest of what we don't know that we don't know, that is the majority of the pie. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what seems to scare people off. They hear about what we do, and we're talking about systems, and people go, I don't want to put systems in. That seems like a lot of work. Well, let me just talk in theory about business. When people start a business, it's usually started by somebody who has an entrepreneurial seizure. That's a quote by Michael Gerber. An entrepreneurial seizure is somebody goes, you know what, I got this great idea, I'm going to make a business. And he said the most guilty people of that are professionals, doctors, lawyers, and accountants. They go to school to learn how to become a doctor, lawyer, accountant, a professional, and they decide, well, now that I'm a professional, I'm going to open a business, assuming it's the same thing. And it's not. See, a doctor, a lawyer, and an accountant is a technician, just like the captain of a ship is a technician, or the pilot of an airplane is a technician, or a surgeon is a technician. They are highly trained, highly skilled technician, but they're still just a technician. Proof of that is if you ever got on a plane and the pilot said, we're supposed to fly to Antwerp, but instead I'm going to Hawaii. Well, he doesn't have the right to do that because he's not the executive, he's the technician. He is told, you are flying to Antwerp. The same thing, the surgeon. Surgeon has a patient comes in, they have a problem, I'm going to do this, this, and this. He can't say, you know what, I'm going to do a facelift on him at the same time, because he's not the executive, he's the technician. He's there to fix the one thing they came in for. So you got to remember this. As a business owner, that is a different hat or a different job than being the technician. Being a doctor is not the same as being the owner of a practice. So let's talk about the owner of a business. The owner of a business, as they create this job that they have, they get a skill, they're going to create a business over it, and then they become the hardest employer they ever had. As they grow, they're going to have to bring other people into the fold. So for example, a doctor learns how to be a great chiropractor, they open their doors, and then the phone starts ringing, and they're answering the phone, and they're scheduling people, and they're answering, and that's fine until the people start showing up for treatment. So then he's treating people, and the phone's ringing, and there's nobody answering the phone. And they're not leaving messages, so they're calling somebody else. So he realizes, I need that, and he finds the perfect person, because he knows, hasn't been trained on how to interview at all, hires the perfect person, and now they're answering the phone. And let's hope that they are the perfect person. But if they're not, he might have to be dealing with problems that are caused by the way they are answering the phone or not answering the phone, and then also treating the patients. So we go through this gauntlet of learning these different things with no experience. We're learning it by pretty much hard luck. And then as you grow more, you got to bring more people in. And so when you bring these people in to help you do the job, the things you're going to give away first are the easy jobs. And I remember getting somebody to answer the phone was the first one. And then I also needed new patients, so I was calling, and there was no emails back then, so we were doing telemarketing. We were having people call. I would hire people to come in the evening, and they would call, and they had rules to follow, and that's how I started my practice. What really grew it was going to do public lectures. But anyway, I had these employees. Then I had to hire somebody to help me because I had so many patients and I was doing therapy like E-stim, hot pack. I needed somebody to help me do that on and off. And then also develop x-rays, because back then they weren't digital. They were an automated machine, but you had to do that. So I'd teach people those jobs because they were the easiest jobs. I didn't teach them how to adjust until I got to 425 visits a week. And my wife said, you're going to kill yourself. You're doing over 100. I was only working 4 days a week, so I was doing over 100 people a day by myself, plus seeing new ones, plus taking their history, doing their exam, x-rays and all that. So she said, you need to hire an associate. I had no idea how to hire an associate, but I did. And I hired an associate, and they were like, I'm coming out of school and I'm assuming, okay, they know how to be a doctor. Didn't realize how much I had learned in the first 4 years of practice, and I had to teach them. So as you hire these people, you have to give away duties, because the bigger you get, the more people you need to handle it. Picture Amazon. Amazon, I believe Jeff Bezos started off by selling books online. And the rumor I heard was he was doing it in his parents' garage. Kudos to him for becoming one of the most wealthy people on planet Earth. But to do that, he had to actually give up duties. He wasn't making all the deals. He wasn't getting all the businesses to sell their stuff through him. He hired people to do that, and he had to come up with systems. And he probably made some of the systems initially early on because he wouldn't have got as big as he got if he didn't. But eventually, he had to hire people to create the systems. So as you grow your business, you will need other people. And remember this, the environment out there, according to surveys in the business world, 1/3 of employees in the United States are engaged, 1/3 of the employees are not engaged, and 1/3 of the employees are actively disengaged, meaning they're working against their employer. Think about that. You have a 2/3 chance that the person you put on that job is not going to be able to do the job by figuring it out themselves. So what handles that is systems. So when people hear about systems, they go, that's a lot of work. Like putting them in place is a lot of work. Creating the systems is a lot of work. And if you're ever eventually going to get big enough, you're going to have to learn how to do that. What we do with AMI is we have systems that we created that we know work in our clinics. We know this because I've lived across the country running clinics on the other side of the country because I had systems in place and I didn't have to be there. And the quality of care was excellent. The outcomes were excellent. The patients were very happy. The clinics were making money. And I didn't have to be there on a day-to-day basis. How did I do that? I had to go through the pain of learning how to write a system.